Hello, investors, and welcome to Savvy Money Show with me, your host, Sean. This is a recap on the oil tanker stocks. If you remember, I did a video a short while ago on which oil tanker stock, and I've had a few questions since then. Since NAT reached $9, I'll click. If you've missed my previous video, I'll click a link in the description below. Please note, I'm not a financial advisor. You shouldn't buy, sell, or hold stocks or shares on anything included in this video. This video is for entertainment purposes only, and you shouldn't invest any more than you could afford to lose. Now, please note that I've had a few comments about how Nordic American tankers have gone up. Sorry about this. Nordic American tankers shot up from $6 to $9, and Frontline and DHT was going nowhere. That was on the back of this video. The CEO with Kramer on Mad Money. Now, as I stipulated in the video, he seemed more like someone coming out of the pub rather than a normal CEO. Mainly because most CEOs have a scripted report when they come out and they come on TV. And he was more comedic in his responses, and sometimes he was stuttering where he didn't know what to say. He was saying that they're making money hand over fist, but so are all the oil tanker stocks, except for the one I said I wouldn't invest in purely because they were all their ships were on long-term contracts, so they couldn't capitalize on the crisis. The other thing is that he also said they would be paying off their debt first, which means, well, he said that they would be debt-free, which means they will be paying off their debt before you see a dividend. If you look here, their dividend is now at 9%. Last couple of days, it's been going back and forth between 7% and 9%. The day that he went on Kramer, it was at 11.3%. And another site is saying that the dividend is going to be 4%. Now, they announced a dividend on the 18th of May. It goes ex-dividend on the 21st. Until then, no one knows. You can see there no PE ratio because they haven't made a profit last year. It went up on the back of that report. It went up from 2.6 on the back of Jeremy's video, and he came out and said, what the hell are you doing? You're not doing your due diligence. And then it went up to 9 on the back of the CEO's interview. And now we get, which just shows how volatile this thing is. And I also said how I think it's something to do with on the free trading apps, you know, that added to it as well, the fact that you could only find NAT, which is why, unless you knew about Stake, which I didn't, as a free trading app until all this happened, I had to go and search for it. That you and I went and searched for a free trading app that I could find specifically for oil tanker stocks, that you and here is stake. You can see I've only got the oil trading stocks and my free share that I get for opening it, and that they would just pile into NAT just to be into any oil tanker stock. Now, I will put all the links below so you can look at it and see it. Now, the thing is, I had people saying Frontline DHT hadn't moved and NAT has, but now people have taken a profit. NAT has gone back down, and I still think, and DHT and Frontline went up slightly. Now, since Gilead announced good news on his drug, and I still think it's going to be a long time before that becomes mainstream, because they're only allowing 1.5 million doses of that to be allowed, and it seems more like it's going to be as a controlled test within a hospital more than anything. They're allowing a certain hospital to be used as a controlled testing area, but that will be in another video. People think the whole country is going to be opened up, and some of these stocks have come down. I have a small position in them because I didn't want to give advice on something I had a large position in. Sorry, not advice. I didn't want to report on. I'm not allowed to give advice. This is not advice. I will be adding to this position now that it's down, and on the 5th of May DHT will be reporting. You can see here that I gave it intrinsic value before the oil crisis of $10.20 for Frontline and $10.05 for DHT. You know, the thing is, Frontline is the biggest oil tanker company around. DHT is a lot bigger than NAT and a lot more secure. They're both profit making before they were both profit making before this crisis, so they will be profit making a lot for a lot longer after. This is a spec play. It should be short term play, but if you were forced to hold it for long term, then you would be in a better position than you would be with NAT. Now, NAT, you can see it, 52-week range, 9 was the high from the 52-week range. People were going back 5 years to try and justify it. You can't go back 5 years to justify buying a stock. Some companies weren't even alive 5 years ago that are now in there. And the low is 1.66. Now we move to Frontline, and we see how their PE ratio is 11.6, which is good. It's below the average PE ratio you should be looking for. Their forward dividend and yield is unchanged at 5%, and they go ex-dividend on 12th of March. So they go ex-dividend before. So you can actually, once they declare the dividend, you can actually take your money out and put it into NAT if you still want to. You can do a dividend hop from this to NAT, but I'm not suggesting that. I'm just saying if you want to. But if you look at the 52-week range here, it's between 6 and 13. So you know you have it's more or less in the middle of the 52-week range, whereas NAT was a bit further to, I wouldn't say it was at the top, but it was further to the top, and because of the Mad Money show, it was by the top. And now we go to DHT, and we see this is one a bit closer to the top, where the 52-week range is 4.7 to 8.83, and the PE ratio of 13.89, and dividend of 6.47. It's already ex-dividend, but to tell the truth, I think the gains from the oil crisis may not come in this quarter. I think you may have to hold it till next quarter to get the gains from this oil crisis. But you can just see the ones I spoke about all have a bigger market cap than NAT as well. And as you saw how positive news affected it, negative news will affect it as well. I mean, imagine if something happened, such as all these oil tankers moored off of California or all around the world. What happens if one of them leaks when they try to get greedy, and instead of packing them how they should, they pack them a bit higher to get an extra gallon in, or instead of putting out a boat to be repaired, they think, well, I'll leave it an extra month and I'll get the money for another month, and then that will pay for the repairs for the whole fleet or for the upgrades. And then all of a sudden oil leaks into the ocean, or one of the tankers goes into another tanker, oil leaks into the ocean. Not only do you have like a financial disaster on your hands, you also have an ecological disaster on your hands. And we saw what happened with BP and the Deepwater Horizon, just because it wasn't reacted to quick enough, and then they held it a success because it took like months to get under control. You know, we've seen the Valdez disaster before. You know, these things happen, and especially when so many of them are in close proximity. All I'm saying is be savvy, do your own research, and make the right decision. As I said, I will be putting links down below to my previous videos, so you can check it out. I'll be putting links down below to Stake, so you can have the option to buying the other oil tankers if you want, and you'll get a free share for signing up. I'll also include links to Trading 212 and Free Trade if you haven't signed up for free trading app. If you've enjoyed this video, found it informative or just plain funny, please hit the like button. It does help with the YouTube algorithm. If you want to see more, please hit subscribe or the bell notification, or click in the comments below what type of video you'd like to see, or you can comment on anything I've spoke about today. Thank you, and have a nice weekend.